Much better. Okay. Mr. Franklin, can you hear me?
Yes.
Great. We got our audio off here. I'm trying to figure out where your client is.
She texted me and said she was here. So hold on.
What's wrong? Yeah, I don't control that. If he taps in full screen.
There you go.
Oh, big there. Yeah, just leave it like that. I mean, in theory, speaker view is what you want, but any noise here sometimes grabs
Right.
the 1D and makes it the primary one. So Ms. Snyder, is your client planning on entering a plea right now, or it depends what, is your client the daughter or the mother?
The daughter.
Okay. Is she planning on entering a plea, or it depends on what her mother does?
Well, my understanding is that the state is not pressing the charges like, with the victim that is deceased.
But that would still leave one charge for each defendant.
Right, and that's going to be reduced to misdemeanor, right?
Okay. And then your client is pleading, or you're just happy with the reduction and you want to go to trial?
No, to the, pleading to the, right.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, she said she hit the link and she's not old, but she's older, so maybe she's not familiar with working and stuff. So.
Okay. Ms. Howard, can you hear me? You're on mute. Is there a way you can unmute?
Yes, I can hear you.
Thank you. Are you able to help your mom link in with us?
She's at work. I'm at home.
Okay. Well, then I'll let her lawyer manage that. Is what she does for work kind of thing where she could step away for a minute to handle this hearing, or do you know?
Yeah, she was outside on break to join the hearing, but I don't know what happened.
Okay. Well, we'll wait a couple more minutes to see if we can get her. If not, we can certainly handle your case since you have dialed in and your lawyer says you're ready to go.
Okay.
Ms. Nelson, if we end up taking 2 pleas today in this case, can I use the same indictment and put signatures in both signature blocks? Or in this strange day and age, do I need to use 2 separate copies of the same indictment?
No, you can enter them both on the same indictment, Judge.
Great. Well, Ms. Howard, if you have any way of letting your mother know that we're ready to go, it'd be helpful if you tried that. I know her lawyer's trying to do the same thing, but if we could get her to dial in, we can get moving.
Okay. I'm about to call her.
Thank you. When people talk, were they showing up, or it's a weird format? It's two. If you want, since we're not on the record, we don't mind. Flipping around. And we lost all of the Howards. Looks like Ms.
Hey,
Howard.
she's here, Judge.
Yep, I see her. Hello, Ms. Howard.
Ms. Howard, at the bottom of the phone, there should be a little touch the screen, and there's a icon that says mute. It looks like a little microphone. Click that, or it should say join audio. Yep, there we go.
The other Ms. Howard left.
But she was calling, so I'm having
She
No,
was
that's
on-
great.
She was on the phone, so she should hop back in a second.
Coming.
Can you hear us, Denise? Okay, we can't hear you. At the bottom of your screen, is there the thing that says mute or join audio? Do you nod if you see the thing at the bottom of your screen? Just nod for me. Okay. Can you tap your phone screen? Denise, nod your head or throw your hand in the air if you hear me. Okay, Denise, pause. Do you hear me? Raise your hand if you hear me. Okay. Tap your screen. Just touch the screen. Touch the screen on your phone, and at the bottom, there's a microphone. You need to touch it. Hold on. I'm texting you.
Your client's very embarrassed. Wow. Mom needs you, Kiera. We're so close.
Okay, so she says she can't hear us. 1 second, I'm trying to guide her through it.
Oh, she's trying. Oh,
I got it, y'all.
look at that.
Won't he do it? Praise the Lord. Okay.
All right. Ms. Howard, do not touch your phone again, okay?
It might go dead now. I don't know. I'm sitting there outside in the car and don't have a charger. So
We'll
I
go
don't know. It might go dead. I've been out here for the longest. I don't know.
Oh,
Just be still.
we'll go slowly.
I'm ready. I'm ready when y'all ready. I'm ready.
You ready?
I'm looking for a charger. I'm ready.
Well, let's get rolling. Good afternoon, Denise Howard and Kiera Howard. I'm Judge McBurney, and your case has been assigned to me. Your lawyers, Mr. Franklin for Denise Howard and Ms. Snyder for Kiera Howard, have told me that you are ready to resolve your cases. The state is dismissing one count in each of your cases because one of the victims in your case have passed away. Is that Ms. Phillips or Ms. Hurd?
Miss Phillips.
Ms. Phillips. Okay, so count 1 and count 4 are being dismissed. Count 1 alleged that Denise Howard hit Ms. Phillips with a bat, and count 4 alleged that Kiera Howard sprayed Ms. Phillips with pepper spray. Those counts are dismissed. The other 2 counts, 1 for Denise Howard, 1 for Kiera Howard, involving a Sunteria, S-U-N-T-E-R-I-A, Herd, H-E-A-R-D. Those are being reduced to a misdemeanor that we call a fray, which basically means you guys were yelling at each other and hooting and hollering and fussing in a way that disturbed the peace. My understanding, Denise Howard, is that you are ready to plead to that one misdemeanor. Is that true?
Okay. Yes, sir.
Okay, Kiera Howard, same question. Are you prepared to enter a plea to one misdemeanor count of a fray?
Yes, sir.
For us to do that, Ms. Hall, who you'll see on your screen, she just waved, there she is. She's the prosecutor. She's going to swear you both in. Once you're under oath, please listen carefully to the questions Ms. Hall asks you and answer them truthfully. Most of the questions are yes or no questions. She's going to ask you individually. We're going to do this together, but then Ms. Hall is going to say, Denise Howard, what's your answer? And you'll say yes or no, or whatever the truthful answer is. And she'll say, Kiera Howard, what's yours? Please do not answer at the same time, because our poor court reporter has to take down separate answers, and he needs to know who's answering the question. But we'll get through this, and Denise Howard will be able to get back to work, okay?
Okay.
All right, so let's get started. Ms. Hall.
Thank you. Can everyone hear me?
You want to move the microphone. You've got a lot of laptops. All right, let's try it.
Can everyone hear me? Ms. Denise or Peter Howard, can y'all hear me?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Ms. Denise Howard, I'm sorry, can you please raise your right hand? Do you swear or affirm the testimony you should give in the matter currently before this court should be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am.
Please say the truth, correct, and legal matter.
Ma'am.
Please say the truth, correct, and legal matter.
You said what, ma'am? I can't hear you. Please say it again. Sorry.
That's okay. What's your full name, Denise Howard?
Denise Howard. Denise M. Howard.
And can you say your middle name again?
M.
It's just a letter?
No, it's A. Denise.
Can you try again?
Denise May Howard.
It may not work for Denise Howard today because the connection, we get like the first word she says and nothing beyond that.
Denise May Howard.
Can you spell your middle name?
M-A-E.
M-A-E.
Okay. All right. See what happens after that.
Ms. Kiera, can you please raise your right hand? Ms. Kiera, can you please raise your right hand? Do you swear or affirm the testimony you should give in the matter currently before this court should be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? You may raise your hand. Please say your true, correct, and legal name.
Kiara Letitia Howard.
Now, as the judge told you both, hopefully Ms. Denise, how you can follow along, I'm gonna ask a question and then I'm gonna just say your name, you can answer it, and then I'll say your name, Ms. Denise Howard, and then I'll say your name, Kiara Howard. And you guys can answer after I say your name. Okay, Ms. Denise Howard, are you at this time taking or under the influence of any alcohol, drugs, or medicine?
No, ma'am.
Ms. Kiara Howard?
Yes.
Did you hear the question?
No, I didn't.
So the way it's going to work is Ms. Hall is going to ask the question one time, and then you both will answer it. So make sure you guys are listening. Denise Howard said, no, she is not currently taking any drugs or medication. Same question for you, Kiara Howard. Are you currently taking any drugs or medication?
No, sir.
Mr. Franklin?
If I may make a suggestion, is it possible for this plea, if you could read the colloquy, Your Honor? Your voice is a lot clearer than Ms. Hall's voice on the Zoom.
Sure.
That's why I moved my man.
All right. Let me see what I can find here. Just give me a second. Well, if you don't mind getting me that, I can use yours, or we've got a plea sheet there. Either way.
Yeah.
That was a little or Ms. Hall's.
That'll work. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Denise Howard, how old are you?
43.
40?
43.
43. Kiara Howard, how old are you?
25.
And Kiara Howard, how far did you go in school?
12th grade, I graduated.
Denise Howard, how far did you go in school?
All the way, all the way up to it.
All the way to what?
12 hours.
Did you get your diploma?
High school diploma, yes, sir.
Thank you. Kiara Howard, are you able to read, write, and understand English?
Yes, sir.
How about you, Denise Howard?
Yes, sir.
Kiara Howard, were you born in the United States?
Yes, sir.
Denise Howard, were you born in the United States?
Yes, sir. Yes,
Kiara
sir.
Howard, have you had enough time to discuss your case with your attorney?
Yes, sir.
Are you prepared to go forward with a plea?
Yes, sir.
Denise Howard, have you had enough time to discuss the case with your attorney?
Yes, sir.
Kiara Howard, have you seen the indictment in your case and discussed the charges against you with your lawyer?
Yes, sir.
Denise Howard?
Yes, sir.
Ms. Snyder, do you waive any issues with proceeding with a copy of the indictment?
So wait,
Mr. Franklin?
So waived.
And for the purposes of this plea only, Mr. Franklin, do you waive any defects in the indictment?
Yes, Your Honor.
Ms. Snyder?
so wait.
Kiara Howard and Denise Howard, I'm going to share with you a bunch of rights that you have as criminal defendants. Let me read them all off, and then you let me know if you understand that you have those rights and that you'll be giving up those rights if you enter a guilty plea to this one misdemeanor count, okay?
Yes, sir.
You have the right to plead not guilty to the charge. You have the, if you plead not guilty. If you want a trial, you have the right to a jury trial, where members of the community will come in and hear the facts of the case. If you went forward with the trial, you would have the right to have an attorney represent you, even if you could not afford an attorney. At the trial, you would be presumed innocent, and the state would have the burden of proof to prove your guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. You would have the right to cross-examine witnesses who came in to testify against you. You also would have the right to testify if you wanted to, but you have the right to silence. No one could force you to testify at your trial. You would have the right to subpoena witnesses to testify on your side in the case and present other evidence. If you plead guilty, Kiara Howard, you will be giving up all those rights. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
Denise Howard?
Yes, sir.
If you enter a guilty plea, you will be giving up most of your rights to appeal as well. You will have the ability to file what is called a habeas challenge, which you have to file within 12 months after your guilty plea, because this is only a misdemeanor. But you are limiting the things you could appeal because you're entering a guilty plea. In other words, saying you're responsible for what you're charged with. Do you understand your appellate rights, Kiara Howard?
Yes, sir.
Denise Howard?
Yes, sir.
Kiara Howard, has anyone forced you or threatened you in any way to enter a guilty plea?
No, sir.
Denise Howard?
No, sir.
Ms.
No, sir.
Hall, recommendation from the state in this case?
It's 12, 15 days for both defendants, reduced to the time served. That's a claim, and the whole section is. 16-11-32B as a board.
Okay, and what about the remaining 11 months and 15 days?
It'll be reduce the time frame.
Right, but is it probated, suspended?
Sorry. So the intention was for them not to be on probation, for them to serve the 15 days and.
Then balance suspended? No?
Well, I was my understanding that the balance was suspended and we converted it back, but what we intended was for them not to be on probation at all, even the now.
I'll say this louder so you all can hear it in just a moment.
My phone going off, my phone going off, my phone is dead.
Hold on, Ms. Stevens, we gotta mute you. How do we do that? There.
Ms. Stevens, mute your phone.
So, Ms. Hall, I think I'm understanding what you're saying, but there are three options. There's a sentence of 15 days to serve, reduce the time served. They're done. There's 12 months, do 15 days, reduce the time served, balance probated. That's not what you want.
No.
And then there's 12 months to serve 15 days, balance suspended. So they're not being supervised, they don't report to misdemeanor probation. But if 6 months from now, Kiara Howard were to strike someone else with mace, you could bring this case back to say, well, we actually do want to do something with those remaining 6 months. I don't know what you've negotiated, you may need to confer with the lawyers, but I couldn't follow which of the three you wanted, other than not probation.
That's okay, let me know. Oh, it'll be 16 to start.
Okay,
That way it's all done today.
got it. Do you understand, Kiara Howard, that the state's recommendation in this case, and I understand this is a negotiated plea, so your lawyer will argue the same, is that I sentence you to 15 days to serve, but I reduce it to the time you've already served. So you may have been in jail for 1 day, you may have been in jail for 19 days, but I'm reducing the 15 that I'm sentencing you to the time you've already served. So you're done with the case if I accept your plea. Do you understand that, Kiara Howard?
Yes, sir.
We lost Denise Howard.
Her phone did, she said.
Pardon me, Kiara?
She said her phone's going dead.
Oh, I thought she was, when she was trying to like move around in the car, she was trying to plug it in.
She just didn't have a job.
Oh, she didn't have a charger. Okay. Well, what we will do, oh, look at that. Yeah, Ms. Crawford's going in. Mr. Franklin's holding his head down. I think we're going to need to pick back up with Denise Howard at the next available opportunity. Maybe Ms. Hall will be able to do the plea colloquy then. If you could convey to Denise Howard, Mr. Franklin, that she's not in trouble. I'm not upset that the phone died. She doesn't need to panic about that. And we'll catch her when we can catch her, okay? Thank you. So Kiara Howard, we're going to keep going. You okay with that? All right. You understand that the maximum I can sentence you to is to 12 months. And that I am not bound by the recommendation that your lawyer and the prosecutor are making. You understand that?
Yes, sir.
Okay, but if I do sentence you to more than what Ms. Snyder has asked for on your behalf, you will be able to withdraw your plea. Understand that?
Yes, sir.
Okay, Ms. Hall, was there anything else you thought I don't ask that, have you been arrested on these charges since? That's your thing. Anything else you want me to cover in the colloquy? Okay. Why don't you provide a factual basis into the microphone or up at the screen, and then we'll see from you and or Ms. Crawford about Kiara Howard's criminal history.
Thank you. Had the case proceeded to trial, the state was proven that on October 19, 2018, at 504 Boulevard, Northeast, Atlanta, Georgia, in Fulton County, officers were called out to the location in reference to a fight. When they arrived, they were approached by about 5 females that said that Ms. Howard Ms. Karen Howard, Denise Howard, and their younger sister were involved in a fight with the women that went up to the police car, and they said that involved bats and pepper spray. Officers, concluded that they believe earlier there was a fight that took place between Ms. Howard's sister and daughter. And this day there was retaliation from the fight that happened with those same girls with the younger sister. There were very minor damages, injuries to the victims that were hit with the bats. One victim, as you know, has passed away since.
But nothing to do with this situation, not
Nothing to do
from
with it.
injuries sustained in this case.
That's correct.
Okay.
Yes, that's correct. So officers decided that these three, all three Howards were the aggressors in this situation, and they were arrested and charged with aggravated assault, aggravated battery. The state had decided to reduce these charges way before we found out that Ms. Phillips had actually found it out. I found it out from Mr. Franklin, I believe, last night. But we decided to further, reduce the case per se, to the probation, from the probation to time served, because the subject of the matter that they were fighting over, he has since passed, and our victim has passed as well, and this is a 2018 case where it was a mutual fight, but it became a situation where the police were involved, so they figured out who the aggressors were.
It wasn't that, and a threat.
Yes,
Okay.
that is all I'm saying.
So your understanding is that there was a fight over a male, he is since deceased. And then one of the women involved, listed as a victim in your indictment, Ms. Phillips, she's passed away as well. Again, neither of them died from this fight. Okay, got it. You mentioned three Howards. There are only two charged in this indictment. Is there a juvenile?
Yeah.
Okay, got it. Kiera Howard, let me ask Ms. Crawford. Ms. Crawford, is there any criminal history for Kiera Howard?
No criminal history found, Judge, for Kiera.
Thank you. All right. I'm going to call you Ms. Howard now because your mom's not on the phone, so you're the only Howard here. Ms. Howard, it sounds like in October of 2018, so almost 2 years ago, you and some others were in some kind of argument, fight, whatever you want to call it. Is that a fair statement?
No, sir.
Tell me why that's not a fair statement.
Because first of all, I was 9 months pregnant at the time, and I wasn't even out there when my mom and them got into the altercation. I came outside when they was telling me my mom got arrested. And second of all, they put me in it because Shanteria is friends with my last baby father. Is friends with Janquita, and Janquita was mad about the situation that I was pregnant by her baby daddy. So this is why she want me to go to jail so bad. This not even the first time I done got arrested. Like my other case before this, I went to jail because she lied. Like she just kept getting me arrested for no reason. So that's why they kept putting me in it. But I wasn't out there fighting. Like I had nothing to do with it that day. Okay,
it's clear that you and Ms. Hurd and Ms. Phillips have gone around before. Your mother had some encounter with them. Yes?
No, sir.
No, she didn't? I thought you said your mom was arguing with them.
Oh yeah, I thought you were talking about me. Yeah, my mom did have like an argument with them, but me, as in that situation, I had nothing to do with it. They just wanted me to go to jail because of her friend told her to tell them that I sprayed her, but it's not true. But,
okay. But you would like to get this case behind you, and you
yes, sir.
Are comfortable with the resolution that Ms. Snyder has negotiated for you?
Yes, sir.
Okay, Ms. Snyder, anything you want to add?
If this is a situation where there was a fight over the same baby's father, and he was killed shortly after this incident, and everybody is fine.
Okay. So there was a young man, you're saying, Ms. Howard, who was the father of one of your kids. Was he also the father of one of the either Ms. Hurd or Phillips's kids?
No, the person, Janquita, she didn't write the she not in it. She didn't want to be in it, but I remember a time I was with her and my mama, I don't know his name, he just on here, the other lawyer, he reached out to her while I was with her, and like I was telling her, like, you need to let them know, like, this not true. You know, she didn't write a statement, so she's not in it. So she made Shanteria and Jasmine write a statement on her behalf for me. She didn't want to be in it.
Okay. The person who is now dead, not the female, but the male, that's the father of one of your kids?
My last child that I was
Okay. I'm sorry about that. When did he die?
back in October last year.
Okay. All right. Well, how's your kid doing?
Good.
How many kids do you have?
3.
3 kids. That's a full house. How are you taking care of all of them?
I'm holding up pretty well. I'm better than I was last year. I mean, just got to make it happen. I mean, just me.
Does your mom help with that, or is she taking care of her own business?
Yeah, she helped. She helped out.
Good. All right. Do you have any questions about anything we talked about?
No, sir.
Okay. Well, I appreciate you sharing with me what you shared with me. I do find that the state could bring in witnesses who, if the jury believed them, would provide a basis for you to be found guilty of a fray. I also hear you loud and clear that you're saying people were lying on you, and it's unfortunate that happened. I assume you are not spending a whole lot of time with Shanteria Hurd anymore.
Actually, me and Shanteria have been hanging out with each other, so I don't even understand why this.
All right. You still over on Boulevard?
Who, me?
Yeah.
No, sir.
Who was living over there at the time?
My sister was living there at the time.
Your younger sister, or is she older?
Yes, I'm the oldest, so the one after me, she was living there at the time.
Okay. All right. Well, either way, I find that your plea is knowing and voluntary. That means you've understood what we've talked about, and you've decided that the best thing for you is to put this behind you in the way your lawyer negotiated. Do you agree with that?
Yes, sir. Okay,
then I'm going to accept your plea to the misdemeanor affray. That would be count 3 in the indictment. I will sentence you to 15 days in custody, but I will reduce that to the time you served. So your case is closed. You don't have probation. You don't need to report to anyone. Take care of those little kids and stay out of your mom's fights, I guess, okay?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Don't go yet.
Okay.
Paul, anything else in Kiera Howard's case? Snyder? Okay, that's it. Good luck, Ms. Howard.
Thank you.
Oh, hold on. Oh, right. That time I didn't write it down. So Ms. Howard, if you were here in court, you would be signing the indictment saying, yes, I want to work this case out. But you are where you need to be. Do you authorize me, Ms. Howard, to sign the indictment for you?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Ms. Hall?
Yes, sir.
And Ms. Snyder?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Then we're done. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Let's turn to the inquiry calendar. And our first 3 positions are Ms. Stevens. And Ms. Stevens has been on the call for a little bit. Mr. Franklin, tell me what we're doing with Ms. Stevens. Oops. No.
Okay, so based on some of the difficulty we were encountering with Ms. Stevens being able to secure childcare, Ms. Hall and I were able to have a new set of conversations and try to figure out another diversionary path. So what we are going to do is, before we had been trying to seek BHTC track 1, but she didn't have housing of her own, let alone childcare. My social worker and I took her to Solomon's Temple this morning. Solomon's Temple is a program that someone can stay into up to 6 months. Per our agreement, she will be required to complete the 6 months at Solomon's Temple, in addition to 8 hours of anger management. And upon proof of that, her 3 cases will be dismissed. They're all felony batteries based on the fact that she had prior batteries with her child's father. And we were able to get to this agreement because he had several cases himself where she was the listed victim.
This
Yeah, we
is
just-
Van Green we're talking about?
Yes, sir. We were riding around with little Van this morning.
Oh, Van Jr. you were with. Okay, so Mr. Green is sort of the mutual combatant in this situation. Solomon's Temple will be a place where Ms. Stevens is able to stay, did you say? I heard you say 6 months. And
Yeah.
she'll actually be able to reside there with her kid or children.
Yes, that's correct. She will reside there. Van Jr. will reside there. They will provide some childcare while they also engage her in various aspects of case management. So they'll connect her to mental health resources, help kind of stabilize her from this consistent state of homelessness that she's kind of been dealing with for at least the past year, but probably off and on a little longer than that. And we hope that in 6 months that she'll be in a more stable position such that she has her own residence and doesn't have to rely on others for assistance.
And if I'm remembering correctly, Van Green Sr. Is actually someone who still is present in Ms. Stevens' life because of, no, not, they are successfully staying apart and that ought to be part of what we're dealing with here.
Correct.
So Van Green Sr. does not get to see Van Jr., or they have figured out a way to somewhat amicably exchange custody?
I'll let Ms. Stevens answer that. My understanding was that they hadn't seen each other since we've been dealing with these cases, but I
Okay.
wasn't 100%.
Okay. Hey, Ms. Stevens, are you able to hear me?
Hello?
Hi, Ms. Stevens.
Hi.
How are you doing?
I'm all right. Hi. Back up. Hi.
Is that Van?
Yes.
All right, how's Van doing?
He's all right. Hi.
Hey, so Ms. Stevens, you went to Solomon's Temple today?
Yes, this morning.
Okay, does that seem like a program that will work for you?
Yes, that's fine for me.
Okay, and you and your son Van will be able to stay there?
Yes, for 6 months.
Okay. Van's father, is he present in your life at all, or are you two staying apart?
He's not present in my life at all right now, but I will like for him to try to help me out with his son or try to get his son on sometime, because I know he have a father and I feel like I need that help. Sometimes he can get his child and be with his child for a little bit. You know, I need that time because it's a lot on me as it is.
Do you have other children or just Van?
I just have Van with me right now.
Okay, all right. Well, I appreciate that. So you're prepared to do the program, and then we'll see how well that goes. And if it goes well, it sounds like the state will dismiss your cases. Is that what you understand?
Yes, sir.
Okay, all right. Thank you. You can put the phone on mute again for a sec.
Okay.
So Ms. Hall, will you be putting together, is this gonna be virtual PTI? So these cases will move to the dead docket?
Yes.
Okay. We can do that for those 3. Does Ms. Rolak have something from Mr. Green or?
She doesn't have anything, so he needs to stay with her. Regardless, we have been in contact with him. Well, he was on our last Zoom. He knows that we were trying to get on the program and everything that's going on. But
Is that at peace with that?
yeah, he's with
with having Ms. Stevens in the program.
Oh, yeah, yes, Your Honor.
Yeah.
I think they're both following the way.
Yeah, okay, okay. I think I follow this, Mr. Franklin. I appreciate your team finding something that works a little better with Ms. Stevens' circumstances. I think VHTC would be great, but they may not be able to provide that same package of services that Solomon's Temple does. Is there a start date for Ms. Stevens?
We dropped her off today, so I think the 6 months begins ticking now.
So Ms. Stevens is at Solomon's Temple right now?
Yep, we literally walked her into the doors and took her there this morning.
Okay, got it. Ms. Stevens, do you have any questions about anything?
Yeah, the mom, I was trying to see, could I be like off a pretrial or something at this moment? Because right now it's too much on me right now at this moment. If he can I want to be on pretrial. Then I also want him to try to come in, I don't have to be right here. At least he can get his child for like a month.
Well, Miss Stevens, so the judge can deal with the stuff as it pertains to the ankle monitor. I mean the pre-trial services. But he can deal with the stuff as it pertains to the court case. The stuff as it pertains to Big Van, that's a different thing.
Get out of my face.
Okay, well, so you and Mr. Franklin can talk a little bit more about Big Van, as he called him. But I will look at the pretrial situation after I learn a little bit more about how things are going at Solomon's Temple, okay?
Oh, okay. So I still have to continue on pretrial.
Well, yes, for now, because I need to make sure that Solomon's Temple is working out and that that's a place you're gonna stay, okay?
Yes, sir.
Well,
All right, sounds good. Thank you, Ms. Stevens. Nice to meet you, little Van.
hi.
Hi.
What's going on? Nothing.
All right. Will you be getting the VPTI?
Yes, sir. I can.
We'll take it from there. Okay. Thank you again, Mr. Franklin, for lining all that up.
Yes, sir.
So our next position is not until 2:30.
May Ms. Stevens log off, Judge?
Yes, she may.
Okay. Thank you. All right, I'll call you, Ms. Stevens.
Our 2:40 has already been null prossed. I signed that. So if Michael Ross is going to be dialing in, we can let him know that we do that. What are we doing with Smith, position 4?
When for the case, I think, when I spoke to her yesterday, she hadn't spoken to her client, so I'm not sure. The offer is usually out, so.
Okay, I mean, it was on inquiry, so I wasn't sure what we were inquiring about. What happened to Briggs, the co-defendant? Has that been?
That was in Mr. Blanca's case.
Okay.
We resolved it. I don't
Okay.
remember exactly how.
Okay, I'm not looking for that. I just was curious. So the
We
piece,
talked to, excuse me, Miss Porter called me yesterday and I gave her the Zoom information, so her and the client are going to Zoom in.
great. Well, they're not late yet. I just was curious what the plan was. So Mr. Briggs in late May did a plea, 6 months to serve, committed time served for a gun. So let's add Smith. Smith is male or female?
Female.
Female, okay. So the drugs were all tied to Ms. Smith and the gun was tied to Mr. Briggs. He's resolved that. So we just need to see what Ms. Porter and her client are gonna do. Okay. All right. How about, if you can give me previews, what about position 6?
So 6 is, I have no idea, I don't. This is, it's a case that has worked out.
Okay. Ms. Nelson, do you recall why? I don't know the origins of some of the cases. I remember Ms. Stevens and why we've been bringing her back. Why is position, if you know, why is position 6 on the calendar?
Let me check, Judge.
Thanks.
Mm-hmm.
Ms. Hall, is position 8 yours, or because there's aggravated stalking, is it Ms. Hodge? Right? There. About position 9.
9 and 10 are both fine. And Mr. Franklin.
Okay, and it's, okay, so not Lisa Richardson?
Right. Okay.
There was,
Yes, ma'am.
okay, there was a scheduling order issued on Scrogan's case back in April. Motions were due August 3rd, so there were no motions filed. So I think that it's because it didn't have a final plea. I don't even know if there's been any contact since the March or April from anyone, the attorney on the case. So I think the inquiry was to find out if he had any particularized motions, if there was anything before sending it to the final plea.
Okay. Well, we'll chat about it when we get there. What then about Linda Harris, who is also Andrea Bryant?
Yeah, I think she was.
When I spoke with Mr. Franklin, he was like, I believe she was, to be located or maybe to see if she could be located by the Orange County.
Okay.
But don't quote me on anything.
I won't. Mr. Franklin went away, so when he comes back, we can ask about that. Ms. Patel, I see you're on the call, but you do. So you have a case with Ms. Hodge, Marcus Ellis.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. All right, well, once we get Ms. Hodge on, we can talk about that one. We're a little ahead of schedule, so we're now waiting on position 4. We need Attorney Porter and her client.
Your Honor, in the meantime, would you be able to discuss Aaron Marrero, or would you like to discuss that at a separate time?
No, we can talk about it now. I'm the culprit here. So I got the draft of the VPTI, and all it said was like domestic violence counseling or something like that. And the program that I'm most familiar with, that I think is most rigorous, not in the sense of he needs to work out, but is most appropriate in addressing those kinds of issues, is an FVIP program, FVIP, of which there are many, and you may know that. I may be telling you stuff you already know, but it's fairly standard. There are lots of FVIPs. Some of them are virtual, some of them aren't. They've got them for folks where English isn't their first language, et cetera. And that's not Mr. Marrero. So I wanted to be more concrete than, he read a book that says it's bad to beat up your girlfriend or your boyfriend or whatever. So that's why I put it in there. If that is a non-starter and that's not what was negotiated, then we can change it. I just was trying to make it a more concrete thing that Mr. Marrero was supposed to do.
Right. And the reason we did not agree to that is that the classes are really expensive. It's 24-week course, $35 a class, $100 fee. just to sign up. So it's almost $1,000. And in addition, we wanted to be something that he could complete relatively soon, not over a 24-week period. So we had left it open so that he could take one of the online court-ordered classes that I'd sent him a few resources to. And so I don't know if the order needs to change, or if we're having this conversation, as long as he provides Ms. Hall with the proof of completion, if that's fine. But I just wanted to discuss that.
Okay, so it was specifically an FFIT program had been considered and then rejected, not because it's a bad program, but it wouldn't be over as soon. It is expensive, and at least some of the options that you and Mr. Marrero had looked at were in person, which is not what he's trying to do right now.
Correct.
Okay, I don't have a problem if Ms. Hall ultimately says he's done what he needed to do, because you, Ms. Patel, submitted to Ms. Hall proof that Mr. Marrero completed something. If you would prefer that the order say something different, I'll change it. But really, in the end, it's Ms. Hall letting Ms. Nelson know the state agrees that Marrero has met his obligations, and then that gets it off the dead docket and then dismissed. So we can leave it as is if Ms. Hall is okay with that as well.
I don't know.
She says she is. So I apologize. I didn't mean to create heartburn for Mr. Marrero. Again, I was just trying to make it a little more concrete, and that clearly caught your eye. So it sounds like we're good to go. You can let them know that the types of classes you two were looking at will suffice.
Okay, thank you, Judge.
Sure. There's Ms. Porter. Good afternoon, Ms. Porter. How are you?
Good, Your Honor, and yourself?
I'm well. Thank you for dialing in. We are a little ahead of schedule, so if you are comfortable talking about Ms. Smith's case, we can do that. Was Ms. Smith going to be joining us?
I do not believe so, Your Honor. I was not able to get in contact with her, so I've sent the birds out to try to find her, but I did not give her the Zoom information. Ms. Hall and I did speak last night about this case, and the recommendation from the state, as I understand it, is going to be PTI. So I would ask the court to reset the case, give me an opportunity to chase down Ms. Hall. With all the craziness in the world, I don't know what's going on with her. So I would ask the court not to issue a bench warrant, give me an opportunity to find her, reset, and then that also will give me a chance to discuss the PTI offer with her that was given to me by Ms. Hall.
So what I think I'll do, hold on a second. Let's just join this. Good. Okay. Ms. Hall, do you have any objection to giving Ms. Porter an opportunity to track down Ms. Smith?
No, we talked about it yesterday. I don't have issues.
Okay. Ms. Porter, what I'm going to do is move Ms. Smith's case to a final plea calendar. It'll be a published calendar, and notice will go to Ms. Smith at her address of record, which is an address on Oglesby Road in Atlanta. If Ms. Smith does not come into court or notify Ms. Nelson through you that she'll be appearing via Zoom for that final plea hearing, then I will issue a bench warrant. Anytime before then, if you, Ms. Porter, and Ms. Smith connect such that she says, I'll do PTI and whatever the terms are that you've been negotiating with the state are acceptable, then Ms. Hall can get to me that PTI order, I'll sign it, and then no one needs to show up for the final plea calendar. I just don't want us to lose track of the matter. The co-defendant has pled, his case is closed, and this is the kind of thing that could slip off the radar, but I don't want that to happen. So we'll set it down for a final plea. We can skip that whole process if you bless the PTI on behalf of your client and everyone signs off on what needs to be signed off on. Otherwise, we'll see you remotely or in person for a final plea calendar with Ms. Smith. Does that work for you?
That's perfect, Your Honor. Thank you so much.
You bet. Thank you for dialing in.
Thank you. Enjoy the rest of your afternoon. Thank you, Ms. Hall.
All right, so we have Mr. Ellis, we have Ms. Patel, we don't have Ms. Hodge, we have Ms. Hall, we don't have Mr. Peoples. So we are at a standstill. Mr. Peoples is due, well, not for 20 minutes. I'm gonna go back into chambers. Ms. Nelson, you can instant message me in there. If we get Mr. Peoples, we can take care of Mr. Scroggins. If we get Ms. Hodge, we'll jump ahead one and take care of Mr. Ellis.
Okay, Judge.
Thank you so much. You're still live on YouTube.
I don't know why it won't go down like this and show 6 or 8 tiles at once. It just wants to show a few. They're still learning and playing with it. Trying to work with the IT department.
It's supposed to be, that gallery view is supposed to be the one that has those little tiles, but I don't know why it wouldn't show.
It could be one of the settings that they put on this. I've been working with IT. I'm trying to get it so that these microphones can be heard through the system. And right now, all you can do is hear that through the system. Then you couldn't do that till after lunch because I looked at it during the lunch break and realized it didn't have the cable plugged in the back. So we weren't hearing anything through these speakers this morning.
Right.
Everything was just coming out of the bar. Now it's coming through everything.
Thank you. Leave. I've been trained not to leave without asking.
Do the same. Stay safe and healthy. Did they decide you didn't need an e-scooter?
I've got it, but it's a pain in the butt. It's just, if I'm not trying to go any sort of distance, it's just easier to use the crutches.
Hopefully you'll be off of them soon.
Is that Mr. Pebbles on? Mr. Pebbles, are you on? Hello? Can you hear me?
I can hear you, Ms. Nelson.
Okay, but Mr. Pebbles cannot hear me. So maybe Judge has it on mute. Is Ms. Hall still in the courtroom?
No, she's outside on the phone.
Okay.
Want me to step out and get her?
No, that's okay. I'll just wait. Hold on. Judge is asking me something else anyway. So hold on.
Okay.
Go sit there something over about fans that post up, be stiff.
All right, everyone. Sorry, I was back in chambers, but got word that Mr. Peebles had joined us. So Marcus Ellis, not quite ready for you, wherever it is you're lounging. You can stay on mute. And let's get Mr. Peebles and Ms. Hall. And Mr. Peebles, is Mr. Scroggins joining us, or are we just having the lawyers talking? You may, it doesn't say you're on mute, but I can't hear you. It's the Galaxy S10e, yeah. So, Mr. Peebles, I don't know what you need to do with your Galaxy phone, but it lists you as video only right now. So there may be something you need to press, but we can't hear you. Are you able to hear me? Doesn't seem like it. About to fall asleep.
I'll send him an email, Judge.
Thank you.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, that's a lot better. Welcome to the audio side of things.
Sorry about that, Your Honor. I'm not used to all this technology stuff on these things.
All right. Well, we've got you connected. We've got Ms. Hall on this end. Is Mr. Scroggins with you, or are we just gonna?
He's right here. Yeah, right here.
There he is. Okay. So, tell me, Ms. Hall, what you think is going on with this case. Well, I remembered what Ms. Nelson said. So, Mr. Peebles, this case had a scheduling order issued. Discovery's been provided. No particularized motions were filed. So I just needed to make sure there were no issues that we needed to work through, and that this was a case we could move to the final plea calendar.
Yes, Your Honor, we can move it to the trial calendar or plea calendar or whatever. We don't have any discovery issues. They provide me, I think, everything.
Okay. Ms. Hall, anything from the state side?
No, no.
Okay. Okay, I think that's a good plan. What we'll do is put Mr. Scroggins's case on the next available final plea calendar, and that'll be an opportunity before then, not that day, but before then, for the two lawyers to connect to see if this is a case that's going to be resolved short of trial. And if it's not, that'll be the announcement that I received from the lawyers at final plea, and we'll move Mr. Scroggins's case to a trial calendar. Does that work for you, Mr. Peebles?
Yes, Your Honor. Sounds good.
Right. Ms. Hall? Great. Let me do one thing, make sure we've still got a good address for Mr. Scroggins. Mr. Scroggins, I've got an address on Mapleton Parkway. Is that still good?
No, 2612 Oak Shadow Lane, Northeast 30345.
2612 Oak Shadow?
Yes. Oak Shadow Lane,
Yeah,
apartment B.
apartment B as in Bravo,
Yes,
and what city?
Atlanta,
Zip
30345.
30345, 2612 Oak Shadow Lane, apartment B, Bravo in Atlanta, 30345.
Yes, sir.
Okay, we'll update that. We know how to reach Mr. Peebles, and you guys will get notice of the final plea calendar. Thank you for dialing in.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, take care.
All right.
That gets us to Mr. Ellis. Mr. Ellis is here, Ms. Patel is here, and Ms. Hodge is here. Good afternoon, Ms. Hodge.
Yes, Your Honor. Good afternoon. How are you?
I am all right, Ms. Patel. Good afternoon. Mr.
Afternoon.
Ellis, can you hear us?
Yes, Your Honor.
Great. So this is on the inquiry calendar. Tell me what you thought was going to happen today, Ms. Hodge.
Well, this is a case, Your Honor, where we have agreed to a resolution in the case. Mr. Ellis is going to go to BHTC, and I think that we're just waiting for an announcement to see whether or not he has been evaluated and accepted into the program.
Well, let's see what Ms. Patel has to say.
So, Your Honor, the only thing outstanding has been a diagnosis. Other than that, there's nothing that'll prevent him from getting in. The issue on our end has been that there are no in-person appointments from 10 Park Place. And we had scheduled a telehealth appointment that did not go through. Mr. Ellis does not have a stable cell phone. It often changes, which has been made this difficult. I believe he told me he has an appointment this Friday. Is that true, Mr. Ellis?
Yes.
And do you know who it's with?
It's actually, they say I could walk in. Like I've been explaining to you since the COVID-19, they weren't really letting people in to the building upon the new patients.
But you're going to be able to walk in, you believe, this Friday for the appointment?
Yes.
And where is the appointment?
At with 10 Park Place.
Okay. What time?
It's a walk-in. I'm gonna try to get there early when they first open.
When do they open?
9.
How are you getting there?
The MARTA bus.
Okay. So you think your schedule will allow you to be to 10 Park Place by 9 this Friday?
Yes, because I'm gonna take off work.
Okay. How's work going?
Oh, it's going all right.
Are they going to let you take that time off so you can go to the appointment?
Yes, I actually work at night, but I get off early in the morning. Instead of going to sleep that day, I just go down there.
All right. We don't want to be too sleepy for the appointment. You think you'll be all right?
Yeah, I could just take off Thursday night.
Okay. And Ms. Hodge, I'm remembering more about the case now. You've agreed on behalf of the state, if Mr. Ellis gets into BHTC, that would this be a diversionary track or would it be a plea track?
A plea track, Your Honor.
Okay. But we're waiting to take the plea to know that BHTC is in place.
Yes.
All right.
And Your Honor, you may also recall that there were, this is a family-related issue, and there are issues with the defendant and his sister. And so I'm sure you remember, if you would also just instruct him that he is still to not have any further violent contact. I just received a message from Ms. Rolak that the sister is still having some issues.
Sure. I will get to that in a minute. Ms. Patel, Mr. Ellis, hold on. Now's not the time. Ms. Patel, has BHTC told you that Mr. Ellis is good to go upon getting the diagnosis, or they, BHTC, aren't even in a position to consider his eligibility until the diagnosis?
The former, he's been interviewed, everything is set in place. They just need the diagnosis paperwork.
Okay.
And they've, sent reminders of that. It's just been the trouble of getting the appointment to happen.
Sure. So that makes this Friday all the more important, Mr. Ellis. Mr. Ellis, you were gonna have some surgery. Did that get delayed, or what's happening with the surgery?
Okay, it's delayed because of the COVID-19. They is not doing no kind of surgery like plastic surgery on my ear, and I had to get my hand, and I also got to get my finger operated on. They ain't no doing neither one.
Okay, so they're only doing sort of non-elective surgery, like you gotta remove a tumor or something.
But it's on the waiting list. When it open up, I'll be one of the first ones to go in to have surgery.
Good for you. So I'm gonna remind you, and we don't need to have a back and forth about it. You and your sister, there's a history there, and I understand there are two sides to every story. I'm not taking a side right now, but you just need to take the high road with your sister and leave her alone. That doesn't mean you can't be around your family, but whatever the history is with you and your sister, just try not to go there, okay?
Your Honor, can I say one thing? I don't even speak to my sister. They could call and ask my mother. Like my mother called me this morning saying my sister said I had to go to court. And my mama said, I don't know. So she went on to say stuff to my mama. So that's what I told my mother that morning. I know she called down there and said something out of the way. Her girlfriend just, I don't know what they on.
Okay.
I don't know when the last time I even spoke to my sister and saw my sister.
Well, that's good. Let's keep it that way. You go about your business, and we'll get you to that. You'll get yourself to that appointment on Friday, and hopefully we'll get you in a BHTC. Okay.
Okay.
Polak, was there anything that we needed to add to this complicated situation, or did Ms. Hodge relay what I ought to hear?
This is what it was basically about, the contact with the children. Remember, they stay in the same, the kids stay during the day in the same household that he visits.
Okay. And are these children that Mr. Ellis has, or these are his nephews and nieces?
Nieces.
Okay. And the concern is that Mr. Ellis is around the nieces?
That's correct, Judge.
I thought that the condition Ms. Hodge was referring to was that Mr. Ellis was not supposed to have violent contact with his sister. Maybe there's another condition. In looking at the charges here, is he not supposed to be around his nieces?
That was my understanding, Judge.
Okay.
The first charge is the cruelty to children.
Right.
Basically.
Let me just see what the bond says, because I don't want to be creating conditions to the bond that don't exist. I'm just going to call it up here.
Can I say something, Your Honor?
In a minute. Order. That would not be it. Order. So the bond that Mr. Ellis received requires him to stay away from an address in Union City, and then no contact with Jacqueline Ellis and Natoya Knight. So if any one of those names is the nieces, then Mr. Ellis is not supposed to be around them, whether he wants to or not. That's the order that Judge Cottle signed. Were those the names? Were any of those the names of the? Oh wait, then there was a modification of bond. hold on.
The modification, because that address is the grandmother's home and the grandmother was going to act as the liaison between Mr. Ellis and the social worker, but the grandmother also keeps the grandchildren,
Yeah,
his
now I
niece.
remember. Yeah. It's a complicated case.
I say something, Your Honor.
I said you'll be able to, don't worry.
Okay.
All right. The bond has been amended a whole lot of times. This is hard to keep track. So he's not supposed to go to his mom's address. That's clear. That's been there a bunch of times.
Huh? Yeah, in a minute, yeah. Good.
Okay, so what you're saying the deal is, the issue is, Ms. Rolak, is that Mr. Ellis is going to his grandmother's house, which he's able to do, but the nieces are, some of the alleged victims are at grandma's house.
That's correct.
Okay. So Mr. Ellis needs to not be, but Mr. Ellis, are you living at your grandmother's house or you occasionally go to your?
No, I do not. My sister do not have her kids at my grandma's. I do not go over there. They see me on the other end of the neighborhood. And that's what my sister be talking about. I be saying though. I be in other people yard. I got witness that I don't be going over there. Like when my sister come on the street that I stay in, I stay at 6582 Claiborne Street. My sister know where that address is. It's just the top. It's just the top. It's just the top part of the neighborhood that I stay in. Like you had to go out. You had to go out from my grandma's neighborhood, go like 2 blocks over. That's where I stay in. And she know where I stay in. Like, my sister don't even have her kids like that. They be over their other grandma's house.
Okay.
Like,
And
and she's so pissed. Hi.
Your Honor, if I could clarify something. Mr. Ellis's grandmother called me demanding, this was a while ago, demanded that I modify the bond because she wanted Mr. Ellis to be able to come to her home and she wasn't involved in the case. The last time I spoke to her was maybe sometime in May, and it was not my understanding at that time that she was keeping the children, but that they did visit her and sometimes would stay overnight, but that it wasn't a permanent place that they were residing. That could have very well have changed. I don't know if Ms. Rolak has been in touch with the grandmother, the one mother that resided at the home, but I'm more than happy to reach out. But my understanding was not that they were actually living there.
Okay, well, let's do this. The most important thing is that Mr. Ellis gets to his appointment, which he's gonna do. We need to make sure we've got a referral in place. I don't see one, I don't know that it would be in the docket, but Ms. Patel, did you get, there's the new accountability court referral form. Is there one in the mix, or are we just relying on accountability court to say he's admitted?
I can sign one today and forward that to Ms. Hodge and speak to Mr. Ellis after this about getting his consent to sign his signature on there.
Great, let's do that just so we've got a paper trail. But let's get him, let's make sure he gets to that appointment. And then Ms. Hodge, if you get information, I'm hearing 2 different things from Grandma. So I think that Ms. Rolak or you, Ms. Hodge, should speak to Grandma and not sister to understand what exactly is happening. Mr. Ellis seems pretty adamant that he understands the conditions and that he's complying with them. And it sounds like Grandma feels like she's stuck in the middle here. If we need to do some things to keep the peace between now and Mr. Ellis getting into BHTC, I'm happy to do so. But I need a little more clarity than sister alleging something wrong is happening in the face of Mr. Ellis saying that's not what's happening.
Yes, Your Honor. Understood.
Clear it up. But let's just hope this appointment on Friday ends up happening. Okay?
Yes, Your
Okay,
Honor.
so what you mean by keep the peace? What gonna happen? Like I'm saying, I don't go over there. Like I be seeing my sister when I be walking to the store, but there is nowhere near my grandma. Like I told you, I see her in public. Like my grandma do not be calling y'all, and I know that for a fact. That be my sister and her girlfriend playing on the phone.
Okay,
You know?
all I'm gonna do, Mr. Ellis, is just get a little more information. I don't want you to worry about it. I want you to stay focused on doing your thing, living your life, and complying with the bond, okay?
I got you.
All right, good luck on Friday. Make it to that appointment, and we'll bump this case to another inquiry calendar a few weeks out, all right?
Okay, thank you, Your Honor.
All right, Ms. Hodge, anything else for the state in this case?
No, Your Honor.
Ms. Patel?
No, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. We'll look for that referral form too.
Okay, thank you.
All right, we've got Mr. Franklin on the conference. His client, Mr. Tatum, is, and Ms. Hodge. Ms. Hall says you have position 8, State versus Albert Tatum. Is that right?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, so let's do 2 things here. All right.
And Your Honor, may I be excused?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thanks for your help today. Mr. Franklin, you good?
Yes.
All right. What are we doing with Mr. Tatum's case today?
We have a negotiated plea agreement.
Okay. Mr. Tatum, there's Mr. Tatum. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Great. And you're able to see, I think we'll see Mr. Franklin in a minute. You've got his little headshot there, but I think he'll be rejoining us. There he is. We've got a lot of people in cars. Mr. Tatum, you ready to go forward with your plea? You gotta put the phone, there we go. All right. Mr. Tatum, you ready to go forward with the plea? You there, Mr. Tatum?
Yes, I am.
All right, you ready to go forward?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Ms. Hodge, tell me, is this a plea to the indictment? Is anything being removed, reduced, or dismissed?
Your Honor, count 1 is the felony charge in this indictment. The state is null passing count 1, and the remainder of the charges are misdemeanors that will be run consecutively.
I count 6. So 6 misdemeanors?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. All right, Mr. Tatum, for us to take this plea, Ms. Hodge needs to put you under oath. Once you're under oath, it's important that you answer her questions and mine truthfully. You ready to do that?
Yes, sir.
Okay. If at any time you cannot hear us, let me know so that we repeat what was said. Mr. Tatum, you have the right to be here in court with Mr. Franklin, your lawyer, by your side. Are you waiving your right to be in court and you're comfortable proceeding in your car?
Yes, sir.
And Mr. Franklin is available for you to consult. I can move you guys into a private conference room where you can just talk on the phone. Are you waiving your right to have Mr. Franklin there in your car with you for this plea?
And not waiving my rights to have him in the car with me.
Well, normally you'd be here in court, you'd be sitting next to you, but you're in your car, and normally your lawyer is sitting next to you. I don't think you guys are in the same car. You're in a different car from Mr. Franklin?
Correct.
Yeah, so, Mr. Tatum, I just need you to tell me that you are okay going forward with a plea, even though Mr. Franklin is in a different place than where you are.
What's the plea? We haven't went over that.
Mr.
Yes, ma'am.
Tatum, it's the agreement we just talked about on the phone before we got on court. The deal we talked about. He just
All right.
the judge just
Yes, I'm okay.
the judge just wants to know that you're okay with us not physically being in court next to one another.
Yes, sir.
Okay, great. Ms. Hodge, when you're ready.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Tatum, good afternoon. I'm Marshall Hodge. Please raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you shall give in the matter currently before this court shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? I need you to answer.
The truth. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. You can lower your hand. Please state your true, correct, and legal name for the court.
Albert Tatum.
And are you at this time, Mr. Tatum, under the influence of any alcohol, drugs, or medicine?
No, ma'am.
Is there any medication that you normally take that you have not taken today?
I take my medicine for my wrist. I had surgery. I had my artery cut, 4 fingers in my hand, and my median nerve cut at work in my hand. So I take my nerve medicine and ibuprofen 800.
Oh, okay. One moment, Mr. Tatum. Mr. Forte, are you able to understand Mr. Tatum?
It's very difficult. He's breaking up.
It's a little choppy, Mr. Tatum. I don't know if you're in a bad cell area or what, but I think we followed that you are taking medicine. You had an artery cut in your wrist or your hand, and it hurts, and you're taking medication in connection with the surgery.
Yes, sir.
Okay, that was much clearer. Does that medication, when you take it, make you sleepy or drowsy or woozy?
No, sir.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Tatum, how old are you and how far have you gone in school?
I'm 27 years old, and you say somewhat college.
Okay, it may help if you put the phone closer to your face. Yes, let's see if that helps. Okay. Are you
27 years old.
Okay. And how far have you gone in school?
Somewhat college.
Okay. Are you able to read, write, and understand the English language?
Yes, ma'am.
And do you understand that under indictment 19-SC167202, you are charged with the following charges? Count 1, aggravated stalking. Count 2, battery, family violence. Count 3, simple battery. Count 4, obstruction of law enforcement officer. Count 5, battery, family violence. Count 6, simple battery. And count 7, obstruction of law enforcement officers. Do you understand that that's what you're charged with under the indictment?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and the state is going to null pros or dismiss count 1, which is the aggravated stalking. And as it relates to the 6 remainder misdemeanor charges, do you understand that you have the right to plead either guilty or not guilty to these charges? And if you plead not guilty or remain silent, you may receive a jury trial. Do you understand that?
Say again.
yes.
Okay. Have you had enough time to speak with your lawyer, Mr. Franklin,
Yes.
about all the facts and circumstances known to you regarding this case, including any potential defenses?
Yes, ma'am.
Are you satisfied with his services?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you need more time to discuss this case with him?
No, ma'am.
And Attorney Franklin, do you waive formal reading of the indictment?
So waived.
Do you waive any and all defects in the indictment, including any with respect to the defendant's name?
Yes, for purposes of this plea only.
Okay. Mr. Tatum, have you been arrested on these charges?
Have you?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, okay. The state is unaware of any outstanding warrants related to these charges. Do you or your attorney know of any outstanding warrants related to these charges?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Has your attorney advised you of the minimum and maximum sentence for each charge that you are pleading to? Each charge is a misdemeanor, and the maximum punishment allowed by law for each charge is a total of 12 months in jail. And on all 6 counts, you're facing a total of 6 years in jail. Do you understand that?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And do you understand that this is a negotiated plea of guilty, which means that I, as the state, will recommend a sentence to the court, but the judge does not have to accept my recommendation and can impose the maximum punishment allowed by law for each charge?
Yes, ma'am.
And do you understand that the state will recommend a sentence of 12 months for each count to run consecutively? On count 2, 12 months to serve, reduced to time served on count 2, which would leave counts 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7 for probation, and that will be 6 years of probation. I'm sorry, 5 years of probation.
I thought it'd be 5.
It is 5.
5 years probation. Do
Yes,
you
ma'am.
understand? Okay. And do you understand that if you are placed on probation of any kind, you cannot violate any criminal laws of any governmental unit or special conditions of probation without facing or being subject to revocation for the balance of your sentence?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you understand that if you are currently on probation or parole, your probation or parole may be revoked based on your entering a guilty plea here today?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you understand that you are not allowed to possess or use a firearm while on probation?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you understand that if you are not a United States citizen, a guilty plea conviction can affect your immigration status and result in deportation, just like a conviction at a trial would?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you understand that there may be other adverse or unfavorable consequences as a result of this guilty plea conviction, just as there would be if you were convicted following a trial? For example, your guilty plea may affect your right to hold public office, your right to vote, your right to serve on a jury, your right to obtain a passport, your right to receive, possess, or transport a firearm, or your ability to obtain employment.
Yes, ma'am.
Do you understand that you waive any and all defenses, including any mental health defenses, by entering a guilty plea today?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you understand that if you went to trial, you would have the right to a trial by jury, the right to see, hear, and confront witnesses called to testify against you, the right to testify on your own behalf or remain silent and not incriminate yourself?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you understand about pleading guilty, you are giving up the following rights: the right to a trial by jury, the right to remain silent and not incriminate yourself, the right to confront witnesses called against you, the right to assistance of counsel hired by you or court-appointed counsel if you could not afford an attorney in your case, the right to the presumption of innocence, the right to testify on your own behalf and to present other evidence, the right to subpoena witnesses and compel the production of evidence, the right to have the charges against you proved beyond a reasonable doubt, and the right to appeal if convicted of these charges after a trial. Do you understand that you are giving up all of those rights?
Yes, ma'am.
And has anyone forced, threatened, or promised you anything to get you to give up those rights and enter a guilty plea today?
No, ma'am.
Is it your decision to waive these rights and plead guilty because you are in fact guilty?
Yes, ma'am.
And how do you plead to the charge, count 2, battery family violence?
Guilty.
And how do you plead to count 3, simple battery family violence?
Guilty.
We can streamline this. Mr. Tatum, are you pleading guilty to counts 2 through 7? Those are the misdemeanors in your case.
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you.
Is this guilty plea freely and voluntarily given with a full knowledge of the charges against you?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you understand that you have only a limited right to appeal this guilty plea conviction?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you understand that you only have 12 months from today to file a petition challenging the voluntariness of this guilty plea?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Your Honor, just to state the facts of this case, this indictment includes 3 separate incidents which happened pretty close in time. They are all relating to the same victim. The victim's name is, and I will spell it Tyandrea, Cox Rowe, R-O-W-E. The defendant and Ms. Rowe were in a relationship and living together. The first incident happened May 18th, 2018. The Atlanta Police Department was called to 818 Peoples Street, Southwest Atlanta, that's in Fulton County, regarding a fight call. When they arrived at the scene, they spoke with the victim, Ms. Rowe, who reported that she and the defendant got into a verbal argument which turned physical. And at that time, he pulled her braided weave out. The second incident happened shortly thereafter, June 27th, 2018. The Atlanta Police Department was called to the same location. At that time, Officer Derrick with the Atlanta Police Department spoke with the victim, same victim, Ms. Rowe in the case, who again reported that they had an argument that turned physical. During this argument, Ms. Rowe reported that Mr. Tatum grabbed her wrist and pulled her shirt off. He was still on the scene. The officers tried to arrest him. He resisted arrest. It took some time for them to actually get him to comply with their commands. They were eventually able to place him under arrest, and he was charged with simple battery family violence and obstruction in that case. A few months later, on November 3rd, 2018, Atlanta Police Department was called to the same location. At that time, they again spoke with Ms. Rowe, who reported that she and Mr. Tatum had gotten into another argument, which turned physical. And during this argument, she reported that he punched her in the face and threw her to the ground. Officers, again, Officer Byrd and other officers with the Atlanta Police Department attempted to arrest Mr. Tatum. He resisted arrest. He refused to put his hands behind his back, and he attempted to flee. They were able to subdue him and get him restrained. And at that time, he was arrested for battery family violence, simple battery, and obstruction. The state's recommendation in this case, Your Honor, is again to null pros count 1, count 2, serve 12 months, reduced to time served. The remaining counts 3 through 7, 12 months of probation for each count to run concurrent while on probation.
Concurrently or consecutively?
I'm sorry, Your Honor. I'm sorry, consecutively.
Okay.
While on probation, no contact with the victim, Ms. Rowe, complete a domestic violence intervention program, and have no weapons on his person. I
Okay.
will defer to Ms. Crawford for his criminal history, Your Honor, and that concludes the state's announcement.
Thank you. Ms. Rolak, any input from victim witness, anything from Ms. Rowe?
Not at this time, Judge. I spoke with her and she denies any safety concerns at this point.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Crawford, do you have any criminal history for Mr. Tatum?
Judge, I was not able to find any history on Mr. Tatum.
Okay. Mr. Tatum, I'm going to hear from your lawyer in just a minute, but I have a couple questions. Are you and Ms. Rowe still in a relationship, or is that relationship over?
Technically, we're not allowed to talk to each other. So I mean, our relationship is pretty, through a third party. We have a child together, have a son with her. So
okay, let me play
not been able to have no contact or whatever it's been.
Okay, I think I followed that, but I want to play it back because the connection is not good. You currently are not allowed to have contact with her, but you have a child with her, a son, and so there's a third party who makes it possible for you to spend time with your son, and then Ms. Rowe spends time with your son. Is that correct?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I heard you. Thank you. So if I have as a condition of your probation that you should have no contact with Ms. Rowe other than to arrange for the exchange of your son, will that work? I mean, you're not also trying to date Ms. Rowe, are you?
We are. That's what I'm saying. We are trying to, have a family. We're trying to be a family.
Okay, I hear you. I may structure it a little bit differently then. Ms. Rolak, what I heard you say is that Ms. Rowe does not have any safety concerns. Put a finer point on it. What was her view, if she expressed one, about having contact with Mr. Tatum?
She did not express any, but she didn't want to pursue the charges.
Okay, all right. Mr. Franklin.
Thank you, Judge. So we would ask that you accept the plea as negotiated. Part of the reason I know you oftentimes have questions about how we got to what we got to. The way we got to the dismissal of count 1 just generally involves kind of a very straightforward reading of the statute. The contact that they had was consensual, although the conversation, the interaction went left. The initial encounter was consensual. So in light of some of the other circumstances, we felt that was best to get rid of that count. Ms. Hodge certainly has reason for concern in terms of the nature of their relationship, which is why we stack the misdemeanors as opposed to having something run concurrent, as you would often see. And most importantly, I sent a copy of this to Ms. Hodge earlier this year. But in May of 2019, Ms. Rowe wrote essentially a letter asking that the charges not be pursued. she asked to withdraw from the prosecution of the case, and she did express to me a desire to try to build a family with Mr. Tatum. Mr. Tatum has been steadfast in that same desire, but generally they've just been managing the visitation with the child while things have been ongoing during COVID. So given his lack of criminal history, although there are several events here, we believe that there are sufficient safety protocols in place to allow them to figure it out amongst themselves. So we would ask for a no violent contact provision as it pertains to Ms. Rowe, but we do ask that they have be able to have actual contact, because one is what they both desire, and until otherwise shown, I believe it's in the best interest of the child that they share.
Okay. I think I understand that. Mr. Tatum, do you have any questions or anything you want to add?
No, sir. I mean, yes, sir. Actually, with what I'm pleading to is 5 years probation. The domestic violence provision class, and there's no fines added, right?
So I have not pronounced the sentence yet. I was not planning on adding a fine, but you should know that there are supervision fees while you're on probation. There's a little bit you have to pay. I don't know if it's monthly or quarterly to cover part of the cost of supervision, but I was not planning on assessing a fine. Were you hoping to get a fine?
No, sir. I was hoping not to.
Okay, well, we'll keep it that way. Are you working right now?
Yes, sir. I am.
What do you do?
Say it again.
What do you do for work?
Hello?
Mr. Franklin, do you know what Mr. Tatum does for a living?
I'm a handyman. Work on houses.
Got it. You're a handyman who does work on houses. We're good. Let me pronounce the sentence because it looks like Mr. Franklin's trying to get somewhere and you're trying to get somewhere. So Mr. Tatum, I find there's a factual basis for your plea. You and Ms. Rowe have had a tumultuous relationship and you may have gotten hands-on in a way that you shouldn't have on more than one occasion. You and she are going to need to figure out how to work out your disagreements in a way that is safer for her. And what's your son's name?
Josiah.
Josiah. Josiah does not ever need to see you put your hands on Ms. Rowe. That's one of the most unhealthy things for a little kid to see. So we're going to try to get you some help through the classes you're going to go to. I take it that you are serious about wanting to take care of Ms. Rowe as well as Josiah. We'll see if that can happen. But I do find there's a factual basis for your plea, that your plea was knowing and voluntary, meaning you understood what we've been talking about and no one's forced you to enter this plea. So I will accept it. I will sentence you as to count 2, that's the first misdemeanor, to 12 months to serve, but I'll reduce that to whatever time you spent in jail in connection with these charges. Count 3, I'm sentencing you to 12 months. That will be probated. Count 4 will be 12 months probated. That's consecutive to count 3. Count 5 is 12 months probated. That's consecutive to count 4. Count 6 is probated. That's concurrent with count 5. And count 7 is probated. That's concurrent with count 5. So I'm doing it a little bit differently. I think that 3 years probation is enough. We will know far sooner than 3 years out if you are going to handle Ms. Rowe the wrong way and treat her the wrong way if you guys are back together. It will be a condition of your probation that you complete what is called a family violence intervention program. It's not an easy class and it's not a short class, but it will help you work through when you get upset with someone you care about, whether it's Ms. Rowe or Josiah or someone else close to you. It'll help you work through things in a way where you don't end up getting arrested and then getting into a tussle with the police. So it's meant to help, it's not meant to punish you. I want only the best for you and Ms. Rowe, and in particularly for Josiah. You chose to bring him into this world, and you ought to show him as good a childhood as you can. What I am going to do is require that you and Ms. Rowe live in different residences until you complete the family violence intervention program. If you successfully complete that program and would like to petition me to change probation so that you and Ms. Rowe can live in the same place and be a family for Josiah, then we can have a brief conversation. And if Ms. Rowe comes in here and says, that's what I want as well, and there hasn't been any trouble, then you guys can be together. But if that's not how things play out, then you may have contact with Ms. Rowe. It may not be violent contact, but until you complete that program, you and Ms. Rowe are going to need to live under separate roofs. Do you have any questions about any of that, Mr. Tatum?
Yes, sir.
You do have questions, or you?
No, sir.
All right. Mr. Frank?
I don't have any questions.
Yes.
No questions, Your Honor.
Okay. Mr. Tatum, anything else?
No, sir.
Ms. Hodge, anything else?
No, Your Honor.
All right, thank you all for your work on this case. I gotta do two things. Mr. Franklin, we're working off a copy of the indictment. Do you waive any issues by proceeding with a copy of the indictment?
So waived.
Mr. Tatum, you need to sign the indictment, but you're in your car and I'm in my courtroom. Do you authorize me to sign the indictment for you?
Yes, sir.
Ms. Hodge, may I sign for you?
Yes, Your Honor.
And Mr. Franklin?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, that's it. Ms. Nelson, how do we let Mr. Tatum know how he connects with misdemeanor probation? Does that go through Mr. Franklin?
I will send that information to Mr. Franklin and he can give it to his client.
Sounds good. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you.
All right, good luck, Mr. Tatum.
All right, thank you.
All right, we have one defendant, 2 cases left on the calendar, and that's Linda Harris, AKA Andrea Bryant. And my understanding, Ms. Hall, is we're just trying to figure out if Mr. Franklin has any success in tracking her down. We just lost Mr. Franklin. Oh, because he's walking in.
That's where I was going. I was in the parking deck because it's easier for the client to hear me on the than in court.
Okay. What's happening with Ms. Harris / Ms. Bryant?
So right before we had our plea for Mr. Tatum, I got a call from her.
Ms. Hodge, you're free to go. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Got a call from her in my office. So I thought she was headed over this way. She gave me a new address. And I have a phone number for her now.
Okay.
I thought she was gonna walk over and we could actually do the plea.
But that's been the issue, is just connecting with her?
Yeah, I asked her to be put on the calendar because I hadn't had contact.
Okay.
And I wanted to either tickle something that made her reach out to me.
Good. So she somehow got word of the calendar, but I guess it's not her ad. Maybe it went to a relative who said, hey, you got something.
She said it went to the place where she's been staying, which is the Welcome House, which is on Memorial Drive.
Okay.
So she gave the zip code that we're in. Just the phone number wasn't working, so.
All right. So should we bump this to our next inquiry calendar, or what's the?
If we can wait 10 minutes.
So I can't wait 10 minutes?
Oh,
I gotta go. It's not her fault, but we're a little behind, and my schedule is such that I need to go. I certainly won't hold that against Ms. Bryant. Let me see what address is in the system for her. We've got a North Avenue apartment.
That's a different address.
Okay. So if you could get good address, well, but that's one of the two cases, maybe in the, we're sending stuff in both cases. Let's see what the other case says. And is she Miss Harris or Miss Bryant? Do you know which one?
Bryant, I believe is correct.
Okay. Yeah, the address in both her cases is an apartment on North Avenue. Sounds like it's not the right address. So if we can update the address, you've got a phone number, what makes the most sense? It sounds like, were you ready to go, Ms. Hall? I mean, you think it's been worked out?
Yeah. This is a
Okay.
negotiated agreement since January.
So it's just get Ms. Bryan in here.
Yeah.
Okay, so if we get it on the next available published calendar, you all right with that?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
One of you all got the calendar in front of me. Could you give me the case numbers again?
Sure. For Ms. Bryant, the first one is 19 SC 164594. And the other is 19 SC 168701.
So we're continuing both of those cases to another notice calendar, correct?
Yes, ma'am. And Mr. Franklin is filling out a change of address form, so the system will have a good address. Mr. Franklin has a number that's good, at least today, phone number. And we will do our best to, well, she'll have notice because it'll go to this address that is current as of today. And we'll see if we can get police on those two cases. Well, thank you, everyone. Thank you, Ms. Crawford, for being with us today. Tomorrow, we don't have anything purple. Let's see what we've got. We're taking a plea on Thursday through WebEx, but that is a private attorney and it's Ms. Hodge. Okay. So that's not you. I figured you'd know that. And then Friday is civil. So I'll see you guys next week. Enjoy the time off. Thank you, Mr. Forte. Sorry that some of those cell phone connections have been tricky.
It was really weird day. Everyone on my clients had the shaky voice today.
Yeah. Yeah, well, poor Ms. Howard, I mean, I think she was having a lot of technical, then the battery died. It can't have helped that the battery is at 1 when we're trying to hear her.
And it's funny, we were texting and talking back and forth all day yesterday, and she gets off work